Hi there, my name is Patty Minch, and I'm a 6th grade science teacher at Reynolds Middle School in the school district of Lancaster. Currently live a few blocks up the road from Millersville University with my wife and our son. And for the Easter egg for this module, my favorite cartoon character is in the bottom left, and that, of course, is Bugs Bunny. At Reynolds, I teach a lot of earth and space science, but I also am able to dive into the technology and engineering components of STEM. Moving into my operational definition of STEM, I wrote that STEM is a multidisciplinary approach to creating solutions to relevant problems using 21st century skills. And a lot of my definition derived from the Vasquez article, where they write that the goal is for students to be able to function and thrive in our highly technological world, and that boils down to STEM literacy. Furthermore, a little bit later on, it writes that STEM is not a curriculum, but rather a way of organizing and delivering instruction. A project that we did in my class this year was to have students engineer a bridge and look at the different physical components of what makes different bridges stronger and how it accounts for different stressors that a bridge might face, and then they had to create their own bridge using materials that I gave them. Their assignment was to build a bridge that held up at least one textbook, and that spanned about a 40-centimeter gap. And they had to only use the supplies that I provided for them. So each group or company had a $100 budget, and then you can see on the right-hand side the materials that they were able to use. And they needed to create and design a bridge within that budget, and then they would earn back points based on how well they worked together collaboratively, how many textbooks it held, the height of the bridge. Site demolition was really if they cleaned up their station. And then if they were able to save some of the money in their budget, they got some money back on that as well. Now, how did this utilize STEM and the different components of STEM? Within science, we studied a lot of the physics behind what makes a bridge strong. We developed and used models, different programs to study the different shapes that go into bridges and how different bridges are stronger than others. We use mathematical and computational thinking. Within the engineering column, we had to define the different problems that they were going to run into. How could they help hold up a textbook using just paper and paper clips and tape? And then they had to design solutions. There wasn't too much technology used within the actual construction of the bridge, although we did talk about the technology that is used to create an actual bridge. And lastly, in math, they had to persevere in solving the problems, and they had to be very precise, both within the engineering component of the project, as well as the calculations of prices and stuff like that. Neil deGrasse Tyson made a pretty strong point with regards to the importance of STEM education, and I kind of boiled it down into 4 main points on the left-hand side. It instills problem solving with students. It increases the utilization and advancement of technology. Neil deGrasse Tyson also mentions a lot of economic benefits, both at a national scale and also for students themselves, creating jobs for the national economy and also creating jobs for students. And lastly, the protection and advancement of knowledge. The one thing that stuck out to me, I think, was the introduction to the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, where Tyson says if we think of the great challenges that lay before us as a society, things like food, energy, climate, health, we need to bring the greatest innovations that the human mind is capable of in the service of civilization. And that really, I think, boils it down pretty clearly as to why STEM education is so important. Lastly, my goals for this course, kind of the obvious one, I want to gain a solid understanding of STEM education to better serve my students and advise my school and district with regards to STEM education moving forward. I hope to develop a culture of STEM at Reynolds Middle School and have Room 218 be the most engaging and relevant class on a daily basis for my students. And lastly, I want to help them reflect more effectively on their learning. Pulling from Vasquez's article, they write that it's important for students to reflect on the nature of science, on their own learning process. Engaging students and reflecting on the different activities of the unit can provide them with an understanding of how the 4 STEM fields fit together. So there you have it. I'm looking forward to this course, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you.